Welcome to Exam Sales Comprehensive Guide to the Cisco CCNA Security Implementing Cisco Network Security exam. This video will walk you through the exam syllabus, highlighting the key domains, topics, and skills you'll need to master to succeed. Let's dive in. The CCNA Security exam is divided into 7 domains, each with its own weightage and focus area. The domains are Network Security, Firewall Technologies, VPN, Secure Access, Security Concepts, IPS, and Content and Endpoint Security. Understanding the weightage of each domain is crucial for effective preparation. The domains and their corresponding percentage weights are Secure Routing and Switching at 18%, Cisco Firewall Technologies at 18%, VPN at 17%, Secure Access at 14%, Security Concepts at 12%, Content and Endpoint Security at 12%, and IPS at 9%. Let's begin with Domain 4.0, Secure Routing and Switching, which accounts for 18% of the exam. This domain focuses on implementing Layer 2 security, hardening the control plane, and securing management protocols on network devices. Key topics include configuring and verifying port security on access ports, implementing DHCP snooping to mitigate rogue server attacks, and configuring dynamic ARP inspection, DI, to prevent spoofing. You'll also learn about IP source guard for address validation and configuring spanning tree protocol, STP security features like BPDU guard. Additionally, this domain covers routing protocol authentication for OSPF and EIGRP, hardening the management plane using SSH, SNMPv3, and NTP, and configuring control plane policing, COP, to protect the CPU. Next up is Domain 5.0. Cisco Firewall Technologies, which also accounts for 18% of the exam. This domain focuses on the configuration and management of Cisco ASA firewalls and iOS zone-based policy firewalls. You'll learn about firewall technologies like packet filtering and stateful inspection, configuring Cisco ASA interface security levels and names, and implementing Cisco ASA object groups and access control lists, ACLs. Other key topics include configuring network address translation, NAT and port address translation, PAT, implementing modular policy framework, MPF, for advanced inspection, and describing ASA deployment modes including routed and transparent. You'll also learn about configuring iOS zone-based policy firewall, ZPF, rules and classes, and implementing firewall management via ASDM and CLI. Domain 3.0, VPN, which accounts for 17% of the exam, focuses on implementing site-to-site and remote access VPN solutions using ISEC and SSL protocols. Key topics include describing ISEC fundamental components and encryption algorithms, explaining ICAV1 and ICAV2 Phase 1 and Phase 2 negotiations, and configuring site-to-site ISEC VPNs on Cisco ASA and iOS routers. You'll also learn about the components and architecture of Cisco AnyConnect, configuring clientless SSL VPN on Cisco ASA, implementing VPN split tunneling and user authentication, and comparing ISEC tunnel and transport modes. Additionally, this domain covers troubleshooting VPN connectivity and transform set mismatches. Domain 2.0, Secure Access, which accounts for 14% of the exam, focuses on managing identity and access control through AAA, 802.1x, and centralized security policy. You'll learn about configuring AAA using local databases for device administration, describing Radius and TACAX Plus protocol characteristics, and implementing AAA integration with Cisco Identity Services Engine, ISE. Other key topics include configuring 802.1x port-based authentication on Catalyst switches, describing Bring Your Own Device, BYOD architectures and onboarding, and explaining the role of digital certificates and PKI in secure access. Additionally, this domain covers configuring guest access and web-based authentication, and describing Cisco TrustSec and SGT-based access control. Domain 1.0, Security Concepts, which accounts for 12% of the exam, covers foundational security principles, threat types, and cryptographic fundamentals. Key topics include describing common security principles including the CIA triad, identifying common network attacks like DOS, DDoS, and spoofing, and comparing symmetric and asymmetric encryption methods. You'll also learn about explaining the use of hashing and digital signatures, describing public key infrastructure, PKI, components, and differentiating between data, control, and management planes. Additionally, this domain covers identifying social engineering techniques and mitigation, and explaining the importance of the security intelligence life cycle. Domain 7.0, Content and Endpoint Security, which also accounts for 12% of the exam, focuses on mitigating web and email threats while securing user endpoints with advanced malware protection. Key topics include describing Cisco Email Security Appliance, ESA mitigation features, explaining Cisco Web Security Appliance, WSA functions and proxy modes, and describing Cisco Advanced Malware Protection, AMP for endpoints. You'll also learn about comparing cloud-based versus on-premise content security solutions, explaining endpoint security components like HIPS and antivirus, and describing the role of Cisco Talus in threat intelligence. Additionally, this domain covers implementing URL filtering and application visibility controls, and describing sandboxing and file reputation analysis. Finally, Domain 6.0, IPS, which accounts for 9% of the exam, focuses on implementing intrusion prevention systems to detect and block malicious traffic. Key topics include differentiating between IDS and IPS deployment modes, explaining promiscuous and inline monitoring modes, and describing signature-based and anomaly-based detection methods. You'll also learn about explaining the features of Cisco Firepower Next Generation IPS, identifying common IPS evasion techniques and countermeasures, and describing IPS event logging and alert management. Additionally, this domain covers explaining the function of reputation-based filtering, and describing the role of Cisco Firepower Management Center, FMC. With that, we've covered the entire syllabus of the CCNA Security Implementing Cisco Network Security exam. Make sure to focus on the key domains, topics, and skills mentioned in this video to ensure a solid understanding of the concepts. Practice consistently, and you will be well prepared to tackle the exam. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.